Ladies and gentlemen, to be honest, we have no idea what's just happened. We are live again, which is the best news. We watched the first half of race 1, then unfortunately our producer Steve got disconnected. We think that then screwed something up with the server. Steve struggled to get reconnected and going live. It said it was live on his end. It wasn't. All that doesn't really matter. We thought then we were going to have to rerun race 1. We don't have to. We've got the finishing order. So we are good to go for race number 2. I can tell you that the top 3 ended up being Leon Frost, race winner, Scott Bugner in 2nd, and Mason Turner in 3rd place. We had a chat to all 3 of those drivers. Mason Turner, young 14-year-old, spoke very well. Scott Bugner saying that it's all about the points for the end of the championship. He appreciated that he outscored Gabriel Norse, who came 5th in the end. Rich Hayden came 4th, by the way, if anybody wants to know the top 5. And Leon Frost just said that it was business as usual. He really enjoyed it, but he wasn't going quite as quick as he think he could do if it was a qualifying session, which, in my opinion, is just showing off at this point, Harrison. Harrison Morrow alongside me. It was a good race 1, wasn't it, Harrison? It's a bit of a shame we didn't get to see all of it, but race 2 and 3 should be equally exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was quite clean considering I think there was only a couple incidents, but apart from that, it was good racing at the top end. And yeah, I was quite impressed with Leon Frost and how he just drove away from everybody.
He sounded very confident as well in our interview, didn't he? About how he felt like he could go faster, but he didn't feel he really needed to. And when you're a competitor and you hear someone who's just won the race say something like that, it can almost be a bit demoralising, can't it?
Yeah, but I think everybody else should have better go now and see if they can catch up to him. Because I think he's definitely found something that other people haven't got, but it's just about finding that.
Whether he can do it again is another thing. Now, race 2 is the race 1 top 20 reversed, if that makes sense. So whoever won, i.e. Leon Frost, should be starting in 20th place. Now, from that, you should be able to gather who came where on the finishing order based on the grid that you've got in front of you. Callum Einstein must have come 20th because he's 1st. Caden Cook must have come 19th because he's 2nd, and so on. And so on, which means the likes of Luke Cooper dropped down. He's starting in 9th place, must have finished in 11th. Christian Gillian, who was on pole position for race number 1, must have finished in 10th. So you may well be able to see that on the left-hand side of your screen and gather what you wish based on race 1 finishing order. We got about a minute, Harrison. We've seen quite a lot of this championship now and how it sort of unearths. You saw quite a clean start at the beginning as well. A couple of drivers who were falling off the wayside, but it was good, strong racing out there. Is that what you expected around Donington?
I think, yeah, Donington's a good circuit for Formula 4. It's really good fighting because you've got quite fast sections, but then you've got quite technical sections that, you know, a really good driver can make up so much time there. It can really show how good they are.
Yeah, indeed. Oliver Gibson came 6th, by the way. Andy Cowell 7th. Andy Dorman 8th. Kieran Haynes 9th. Jack Smith 10th, actually. So Christian Gillian would have come 11th. Luke Cooper came 12th. Lee Pearcey. And so on up the order. We've only got 15 seconds left, so if I try and figure out every single person's finishing order, I will run out of time from race number 1. Well, forget race number 1, sort of. Let's focus on race number 2, shall we? Callum Ironstone on pole position, Caden Cook in 2nd place. How will they finish going into the next 20 minutes? Well, we'll have to wait and see, but the lights are out, which means we are racing. Callum Ironstone with a good start. Caden Cook in 2nd place, looking at the inside. In fact, no, Sam Gumbly, was the one actually really trying to make some moves into that top 2 positions. Again, a decent-ish clean start. I did see someone going off in the background. Chris Blakey is at the start from the pits, or is in the pits. I'm not entirely sure which one, but Callum Ironstone is the driver that's had an absolute dream start. Craig Curtis up into 3rd and is looking very racy to try and get past a couple more drivers. In fact, no, he's secured 3rd place. Luke Cooper in 4th. That's Catherine Potter, Lee Pearcey and Jack Smith all in amongst that sort of gaggle of cars. That means it's a big movement forward for Jack Smith. There's a little bit of a coming together behind. I think there's Andy Carroll who's ended up going off on the right-hand side as they were coming up towards the hill. It's all kicking off a little bit more feisty here in the beginning of the 2nd race compared to the 1st. But Jack Smith, the driver to be keeping an eye out, I would say. Harrison, he's made us all the way up to 4th place. And once he gets a sniff of a win, there's very little that can stop him.
Yeah, we saw in the first. Ooh, bit of
Oh, there's a little
contact
bit of a
there.
touch with Jack Smith and Luke Cooper. Luke Cooper, is he able to get back on or hitting the tie wall? It looks like he's just about taking that sort of escape road almost there and getting back on, which is a bit lucky. Again, what was your view on that one?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of looked like he just got. He swept over him on the left-hand side and nudged him off, and he just had to go straight on. But yeah.
If you were the driver who had to go straight on there, who ended up having to take evasive action, would you be saying it looked like he came across me a little bit? I'm putting you on the spot here, Harrison.
Yeah, you are, but I think it would be, because he looked to be alongside enough that you wouldn't really argue with it. But yeah.
Right, it's interesting, isn't it? Because there's a lot that I say that is good about Jack Smith, but he's not infallible. He is human. He would be the first driver to say he's not perfect, and his finishing order in the past couple of races and the championship so far would pretty much prove that. Oliver Gibson, his brother, is fighting Kieran Haynes, and a lovely little switchback couple of moves there by Kieran Haynes. Has managed to get himself up into 6th place, but for how long? Because as they go down towards the chicane, Oliver Gibson currently crawling over the left rear side. Kieran Haynes has moved across now to take the racing line, and Oliver Gibson hasn't lunged him. So very interesting, those two making that sort of decision making. Now Lee Pearcey in 2nd place, catching up to Callum Einstone, and Caden Cook, has been overtaken by Jack Smith. And is so that means Jack into 2nd, a little bit of a battle behind. Lee Pearcey is looking very feisty. How hard is it for Callum Einstone to keep hold of this lead now he's got someone crawling all over the back of him?
Yeah, you've got to have nerves of steel. You just got to block out that rear view mirror and keep your eyes focused and forward, because he'll be darting across behind you trying to unnerve you.
I always call it a bit of a psychological race move, that one, where you're sort of filling the rear view mirrors and you don't actually do anything, although he has done something. He's lunged up the inside. It is helped when the race leader goes on the grass into the braking zone, Harrison, isn't it? Because he needed nerves of steel. He didn't have that. He ended up getting his tyres on the grass, squirreled him into the braking zone, missed the apex. Lee Pearcey gets an easy race lead, and Jack Smith is eyeing up the 2nd place.
Yeah, it's just when you have that somebody behind you, you just got to make minimum mistakes as possible, because they'll just make it. As soon as you make a mistake, they'll try and go up the inside, and we saw that just now.
Jack Smith trying to get the run on Callum going into the 1st corner, going out of the last corner actually. It's he almost was a bit too keen on the throttle. He took too much speed and he actually bumped into the back of Callum Einstone. Luckily, these cars aren't as twitchy as they may well appear, so they didn't spin off in either direction. But Jack Smith did make up that 2nd place now. Looking a bit further back, Scott Bugner versus Kieran Haynes, who, remember, was in the mix for that top 3. Had to go straight on, now finds himself fighting over 7th place, and Scott Bugner's found his way up the inside of Old Hairpin. Doesn't get the cutback, does Kieran. I thought maybe there was an opportunity for him there, but Oliver Gibson in 9th place smells blood in the water all of a sudden. He's wanting a little bit of this action. Scott Bugner fends off Kieran, forces him to the outside. Kieran doesn't quite make the apex, but Oliver also doesn't quite get the run that he was hoping for. Andy Dorman behind, like I mentioned. He's a little bit further off, but as we go through the final couple of corners, he's right on them now. This train, almost for 4th place, is going to really congest up, Harrison.
Yeah, the slipstream, you can just see it's doing its work. It's congesting them all up into the braking zone. We can see this is going to be a real fight.
Slipstream, when you're racing, I know it's situation dependent, but do you find it frustrating or do you find it entertaining?
It's definitely situational dependent.
Oliver Gibson trying to fly around the outside there of all 3 of these drivers. Now he's got the best position in the house to see with the carnage that's about to unfold, but look at that car placement. Tries to send it up the inside of what he's managed to get. Craig Curtis, he's got Scott Bugner ahead of him. Scott really did well with placing his car, fending off the opportunity, making sure that he wasn't going to get forced out of that one. But all that's done is really allow Kieran Haynes to look forward at Caden Cook. This is exactly what we want to see from the Formula Ford's Championship, and a lovely move up the inside there by Oliver Gibson on Caden Cook. As they swap round 3 or 4 times each lap, it's almost impossible to keep an eye on where these drivers are going to finish up. Lee Pearcey is getting his lead slowly inched away by Jack Smith, but we're not focusing on that for the time being, because all the action is going on for effectively 6th place, and it looks like they've spread themselves out slightly, Harrison, but you know in a lap or 2 they're going to be right back together.
Yeah, but we just saw that as soon as one went by Caden Cook, you thought there was about a train of them, 3 of them just went flying by.
I'm just looking. I'm trying to find our race 1 winner, who was, of course, Leon Frost. Leon, I can't seem to see. I wonder if he was tangled up a little earlier on.
It might have been. I can see on timing is 21st.
Oh, see on my screen, 21st is Christian Gillian. So he's on my browser. He's actually all the way down in 25th position, which is brutal. Sometimes the browser does freeze, but yeah, no. Either way, he must have been entangled up, and he'll be very, very thankful that we didn't have to rerun race 1, which is, of course, what at one point we were going to have to do.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you've had such a good performance there, just extending your gap to near 5 seconds, it'd be quite detrimental if you had this result instead.
Caden Cook and Andy Dorman. Oh, banging wheels there. Dorman being forced off a little bit over those curves. You can imagine those sausage curbs, Harrison, they're going to be very painful in a car like this. There's not well, actually, to be fair, you might tell me wrong. How much suspension is there on these cars? Because it doesn't look like there'd be that much. I imagine if you go over bumps, it would really hurt.
Yeah, it does. The cars are quite bump sensitive, and going over those would definitely be quite painful.
Yeah, sleeping policeman curves really would be a little bit something you would know about if you managed to smash them. In Donington Park, there is plenty that you would smash. Jack Smith almost smashing Lee Piercy off. Jack, you got to be more careful than that. You've already got one driver who's probably quite annoyed at you. Although Kieran Haynes has managed to get himself back up to 4th, he'd be slightly annoyed that he's not been in this battle for first. But Lee Piercy defending for all it's worth here. He's got 11, well, pretty much 12 minutes left of this race. It's a long time to fend off Jack Smith, but he's doing a decent job at the moment. There's a big gap back towards Callum Einstone. A small gap of only about a second to Kieran Haynes, especially when Kieran and Luke Cooper will probably be working together to try and push themselves forward and getting onto the podium themselves. Oliver Gibson and Scott Bugner have raced for far too long to not know what the gig is here, and the gig is to try and catch up. They managed to do it in a corner as Oliver Gibson tries to crowbar a move up the inside of Luke Cooper into the first corner. He managed to do so. I'm not entirely sure there was a gap there to start with, but by the time they hit the apex, Oliver Gibson made sure there was a gap. Scott Bugner just has to hold on. He just has to be patient now, Harrison.
Yeah, it's just that type of move where you're just making the gap for yourself. But apart from that, it was quite clean.
Are you brave enough to do that in real life in these cars? I feel like there's a tangle waiting to happen in that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's type of high risk, high reward kind of move.
Well, it's something that Luke Cooper is interested in sharing back at Oliver Gibson here as he looked up the inside. Gibson, with a good amount of pace flowing around the outside, you can seem to carry the momentum here, can't you, Harrison, within these cars? I know, because obviously they're very mechanically grip-minded. You can, carry a lot of speed. They're so light as well. We're seeing a lot of people trying to defend around the outside, and it sort of works well for them.
Yeah, it's just kind of, if you get the right positioning, then you can just shoot down the straight, and you can actually make it back up into the next corner.
Seeing very good examples of that between Oliver Gibson and Kieran Haynes, Scott Bugner and Luke Cooper. Luke has now dropped behind, having raced very closely with Kieran Haynes. It just goes to show that within a lap or two, how much times can change, because Kieran is right on the back of a podium with Callum Einstone and looks to be potentially gone round the outside of Old Hairpin. A very interesting move considering what we were just talking about, as he's forcing Einstone as far over as he possibly can, gets a good run. He needs to dive for the apex and the braking now. He manages to do that, and he secures 3rd place. Jack Smith still hasn't got past Lee Piercy. Callum Einstone needs to stay with Kieran for as long as possible, because as soon as he drops back, as soon as he loses that slipstream, you know that 5th, 6th, 7th are all going to be hunting him down as quickly as possible. You can't really write off Craig Curtis in that fight either, in 8th place. And then there's a big gap. Andy Dorman, Caden Cook, after falling over each other, they seem to have lost the impetus and lost their sort of battle here for the top 8, haven't they, Harrison?
Yeah, you kind of see it when there's such a train, and if you just fall back or you make a couple mistakes, then you just lose so much time.
Jack Smith with the fastest lap of the race, still stuck in 2nd place. Kieran Haynes, actually, though, has got the purple Sector 3 on that previous go round the circuit. Kieran's on a 1 minute 10.8, but as his best. But Jack Smith, and if anybody doubted out there that Leon Frost said that there's a 1 minute 10.5 out there, well, Jack Smith has done a 1 minute 10.5. So it's definitely there. And I'm curious to see if I can find Gabriel Norse, by the way, championship leader, 29th place and a lap down. I'm not entirely sure what happened to him. Oh, he spent 5 laps in the pits, actually, so it can't be a lap down. I think he's still sat in the pits. No, he's 64 seconds behind the race lead. Anyway, Jack Smith trying the outside route. Brilliant defence by Lee Pearcey. You may not have seen much VRRC racing before, Harrison, but I can tell you fully, hand on heart, Lee Pearcey's not an easy driver to get round. Although, as I say that, he's opened the door wide as he can for Jack Smith to take that lead away from him. He's going to try a little bit of a cutback now, and tell you what, he might just be proving my point here. Maybe he's taking the challenge. He went for that sweeping cutback. He's got back into the race lead. It's a good battle up here.
Yeah, definitely.
I like it. I like it. You see a lot of this in the real world as well, don't you? In these sort of races. As I said, I remember commentating on them at Croft once, and it's just fantastic to see how close they really do get. And as I mentioned, all the cutbacks, all the outside moves, you don't just see them in the sim. It comes out in real life as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Formula Ford, it really gets at the best drivers. You know, you can see such good respect between the drivers, but such intense battles as well.
It's a shame, isn't it, really, that many championships decided to move on from the Formula Ford, really, and other open wheel championships, because realistically, you don't get this in Formula 4, you don't get it in Formula 3, you don't get it in any of those sort of championships, do you? Whereas it's sort of, I'm not going to say low budget, because there's nothing known as low budget in motorsport, but it is proper mechanical grip. It properly teaches you how to drive, and it's proper racing as Lee Pearcey goes for the move back on Jack Smith. Just goes to show, with all the power that Jack Smith has in his arsenal, all the race tricks, all the tips and tricks that he knows over the years, the championships he's won with VRRC and others. In fact, he's almost the licensed driver coach here at VRRC. We don't have a licensed driver coach, but he is the person that offers out his services. He has a master's in motorsport engineering, and he's still, in these cars, is not able to secure the first place despite having fastest laps, despite everything. Lee Pearcey is doing a brilliant job. He's been at this for a good 6 minutes or so, Harrison, and that gets exhausting.
Yeah, it does, especially when you're starting to battle and kind of defend so early into the race. You've got to strew that out. And you've also got to think about if people behind, they could catch you.
They could indeed, actually. I hadn't really thought of that. Who is the person behind him? It's Kieran Haynes, isn't it? So Kieran is no slouch. I mean, he's managed to secure in that last lap a 1 minute 10.69. His fastest lap is a 1 minute 10.65. So he's able to replicate his fastest laps, and it was about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds quicker than Lee Pearcey and Jack Smith. So Kieran Haynes is really the driver to watch for the next 5 minutes to see if they can make it a 3-horse race. Jack Smith has managed to get ahead now and is in the race lead by 0.4 of a second. Maybe that gap will start to build now, because Lee Pearcey, does he have the overall outright pace to take it to Jack Smith once the gap has been brought out? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. How powerful is the slipstream? It's almost like a DRS button every single lap, and you can see that even going up into those kind of corners, he gained a 10th or 2. It's the corners now and the final chicane. He really needs to be careful and get the best exit, because otherwise he can just basically use the slipstream to coax himself back in. But the hardest corner is the next one, isn't it, Harrison? That is a bit of a philosophy for life, but also, genuinely, this is one of the hardest corners going into this chicane.
Yeah, it's such a hard corner to gauge with the car. You got to, you know, hit the carbs just right, but not run too wide and get the best run down the straight.
Got a good run down the straight, though. I said about how important it is. That's a massive lunge. Lee Pearcey, you're not going to manage to get an apex there. You should know better than that. Jack Smith lunged you a couple of times in previous laps. But this time, Lee Pearcey has not only lunged in, Jack Smith hasn't got the cutback just yet. Lee Pearcey holds on to that race. That could be the race move of the day. Brilliant stuff from Lee Pearcey, from 3/10 away from Jack Smith to lunge him up the inside. Smith saw him coming, maybe didn't see it early enough to close off the gap, but gave him the racing respect he deserved, and Lee Pearcey got the race lead, even if only for half a lap, as Jack Smith takes it back off him. Kieran Haynes on that previous lap didn't gain all that much, actually, because Lee Pearcey and Jack Smith did a 1 minute 10.8, 1 minute 10.8, and Kieran Haynes only gained by 1/10 of a second. It's still a gain, though. However, as they were fighting on this lap, this would have slowed them up by probably about half a second the more they overtake each other. Very, very exciting racing here in the second time round Donington Park. Lee Pearcey, we know how quick he is out of this corner. Is he going to be able to replicate it? If you were Jack Smith, Harrison, surely you'd park it on the inside of the circuit.
Oh yeah, you'd be wise to it.
He goes down. Lee Pearcey again looks to it, and Jack Smith has let him have the apex. Lee Pearcey leaning on him slightly, trying to get that brake zone correct, and he has managed it this time. Jack Smith, I'm amazed. He was closer than the lap before, and he still let him have the braking zone and the inside line going into that one. On the previous lap, yeah, there's 1 minute 11. Oh, sorry, 1 minute 12. 1 minute 12, Kieran Haynes, 1 minute 10.7. He is reining him in as Jack Smith looks to try and touch his way through, crowbarring a little bit of a move into McLean's. Hard fought racing here, forces them off the line just about. He's squirreling to get back on. Good stuff there by Jack Smith. There's just over a second between second and third place as they're trying to fight the steering wheel to get their cars in a straight line to slipstream each other. Does Jack Smith now lunge? Lee Pearcey, he should go to the middle of the circuit. He should go all the way to the inside of the circuit. It's easy from our point of view to say it, but as Jack Smith gives him a nudge into the final corner, it's all about the exit here. He gets a good run, Jack Smith. Doesn't get into the back of him. Maybe had to come off the throttle just an inch to try and make sure he didn't do that, but he's gone to the outside. Lee Pearcey's going to have to be late on the brakes and also on the inside. He does manage to do both of those things. Jack Smith can't make the apex and get the switchback. Hello, it's a 3-horse race, Harrison.
Yep, Kieran Haynes has made up that time and he's now getting into this battle.
Indeed, and with a back marker just in front of these two, you're thinking Kieran Haynes must be licking his lips. How effective are the blue flags going to be for this back marker? They need to move well out the way, and they do. Good racing respect there by the back marker. Kieran Haynes will be cursing his name, but he'll be very pleased to know that the race directors will be happy about it. And there's a big contact, big spin. Kieran Haynes goes into the lead. He was in the lead. He gets collected, and all of a sudden, Oliver Gibson, it's a DK Racing win I see here, but it's not for Jack Smith. It's going to be for his brother Oliver Gibson, who slots his way into first place. Scott Bugner finds second somehow. Kieran Haynes is still in third, exactly where he was going into that melee of mess into the corner, but he's not going to be very happy. He saw first place light up. He could have just gone a bit slower, Harrison. He could have taken his foot off the throttle. First place was wide open, but he took too much speed, didn't he? And he ended up collecting with the drivers who were spinning. That's absolutely gutting way to finish this race.
Yeah, you're just asking a bit too much and being a bit too greedy, sadly.
Oh, Lee Pearcey and Jack Smith, what a race that was. That's such a shame. Neither of them really deserved to end up coming off like that. I mean, we were seeing it from Kieran's perspective. People heart in mouths, I'm sure, in the YouTube chat as well, trying to see whether Jack Smith is trying to crowbar move. To be honest, I think it was Jack Smith overtaking Lee Pearcey. I saw someone really trying to get on the inside, touching the grass. There was a bit of contact. That contact continued going into the corner. Without replays, it's hard to sort of really see it from all angles, but it's a big shame because that was an absolutely unbelievable race, one of which the race is going to be won by Oliver Gibson, and we'll ask him about it. We didn't really see anything of Oliver Gibson, and he won't have anything to say either. I mean, Kieran Haynes, at least we can ask him a little bit about it. Scott Bugner's going to be on the podium for the second time tonight, and he's going to be in second place yet again. And considering his championship rival is all the way down to 26th position, Gabriel Norris, it's a big haul of points for him, but a big round of applause for a clean race for Oliver Gibson, who has won this particular one. I mean, it said he started in 22nd place, but that isn't where he started. He started about 16th or 15th. Scott Bugner finished in second. I mean, that's a good haul considering he started in 19th. Kieran Haynes comes home in third, a race of what could have been. Luke Cooper rounds out in fourth. Lee Pearcey is in fifth, so it is a top 5 finish. Could have been so much better. Andy Dorman in 6th, Jack Smith in 7th, Miles Ragg in 8th, Rich Hayden finished in 9th. Actually, that's how I saw him. He was about 15th. Caden Cook is in the top 10. That's roughly where he was from the majority. Now, we are going to go to another advert now before we have a chat to our top 3. Well, that's a slightly sour end to a brilliant race. I'm sure the drivers in the commentary box, well, apart from one potentially, won't be saying that. And that driver is going to be the first person we speak to, actually. Kieran Haynes, I mean, it's almost what could have been. You drove amazingly to catch up to those two drivers. I mean, the speed that you were putting in, 1 minute 10s, 1 minute 10, 1 minute 10, 1 minute 10. And then you see it open up in front of you. What? Take us through that.
Yeah, obviously I seen them fighting and I was like, I want to catch up. And then I just pumped in quality laps after quality laps. And I seen them just having a bit of wheel contact, thought I could squeeze through. And then I seen Jack just rejoining the track and just tangled with him. And yeah, it's all lifts. So.
Oh, you're taking it extremely well considering. I mean, 3rd place is nothing to be sniffed at. You actually ended up coming out of the incident the same place you went into the incident. So does that help? I mean, if you came down in 10th, would it annoy you more?
Not really, because I could have got first, but yeah, I'll take it and I'll go on to race 3 and hopefully push more.
Your qualifying laps were absolutely rapid. There's no denying that. I mean, as I said, 1 minute 10's just lap after lap after lap after lap. I'm guessing these tyres just don't go off, or did you manage to find an extra gear almost as you were going through the race?
To be honest, the tyres are really good. I'm not really noticing any tyre wear on this car, so that's great. And yeah, the car's just going wherever I want it to go. So yeah, that's good.
That's what we like to hear. Kieran, a little bit very quickly about your background then. I see you've been karting before. What do you race in?
I race in SRK. I done Castle Coombe Championship twice last year. Came second in both of them. Last year was my first ever year, so that was good. And last year I came second in every championship, so I'll take that. And this year I'm racing in SRK and Castle Coombe.
Well, I was going to say, 2nd place in every championship. Is only one thing you could do that's slightly better, is the championship wins on the card this year. Is that what the guns are for? Is that what you're gunning for?
Of course, everybody is after that first place, so I'll just try to snatch off points off the top 2 and just try my best.
Fantastic stuff. I'm going to speak to someone who is trying to snatch points off the top player at the moment, top racer at the moment. But a big thank you, Kieran Haynes. 3rd place in the 2nd race here at Donington. Thanks very much for having a chat to us. Oh, is there anybody we'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go? I always forget that.
I'll give a shout out to my whole family for watching and my school members.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Kieran. Enjoy the 3rd place.
Thank you.
And on to second, bit of deja vu, but we weren't actually live for your last interview. We found out, Scott. I mean, a big congratulations for 2 second places in the night. I mean, that's a massive point haul that you're taking away from a championship competitor.
Yeah, it's. I wasn't expecting that one. I come into the penultimate lap in 5th position, and I thought I'll settle for this. I'm happy, and then. Yeah, the next minute I thought we were back at the touring cars again when it rained at McLean's and all about 10 cars went off because I come round and there was just cars absolutely everywhere. So, yeah, I mean, my dad's always said never give up until you pass the line, and that's probably one reason why not to, because we gained 3 places out of that and, yeah, more points.
You got to be in it to win it at the end of the day, haven't you? You got to be keeping it clean, and sometimes you do just get a little bit of luck. I mean, Gabriel Norse, I think, ended up finishing about 21st position, so it is an awful lot of points haul that you just have taken from him.
I mean, yeah, but we all know how quick it can change. It could be me back down in 20th in this next race, so it's just you've got to just take the good with the good and the bad with the bad. It just is what it is. It's yeah, we just got to get the points where we can and you know, make the best out of a bad situation when it does go wrong.
Unflappable, aren't you? I can't add the pressure on anymore, can I?
No, I've been doing it too long now. I think it's just it is what it is. It's sim racing, and it's like normal motorsport. It's, you know, Tim Harvey always says it's 95% bad luck and 5% good luck. So take it whilst you can.
I think that's a generous equation, I'd say, as well. Scott, thank you very much for having a chat to us. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
I promised my missus a shout out last week, but I didn't get a podium, so my missus is probably watching downstairs because I'll be in a doghouse if I forget. And I think the rest of the family that are watching, and yeah, thank you.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Scott.
Cheers.
And on to first place then. Well, I said in the commentary that there was a good chance it was going to be a DK Racing victory. I'll be honest, Oliver, your name wasn't on the cards at that point. But I mean, a race victory, you have to be in it to win it. You were thoroughly fast in your own right, consistent, and you got to take advantage when it comes.
Yeah, that's probably the luckiest win I've ever had. Yeah,
well, I'm glad
I couldn't believe it. No, I couldn't believe it. Honestly, you come up the hill and there's just gravel everywhere. Like, oh, what's going on? And then I'm checking who's gone off. And I'm like, yeah, what a mess that looked like. But I'll take it. It's fine for me, but obviously for Jack, it's a bit of a bummer. But no, happy for me. But I like to actually be in the fight rather than just pick up the scraps. But no, we'll get there in the end. But you know, just I'm happy with the consistency I had and pace wise. But obviously, yeah, not quite the way I'd wanted to win that race. But it is what it is. You take any opportunity you can get. So I'm happy with it.
I'm gonna say sometimes if you're not in the fight, it's still better to be lucky than just be boring, isn't it? I suppose. You are in a team championship, obviously with Jack. You mentioned it there. 3rd place in the team championship, but 1 point behind Team Carbug. You guys, I mean, you drove very well in the final third of that first race. You both did very well in this race. We saw you working together quite hard in the first race, actually, as well. You bump drafting each other to try and get the most out of each other.
Yeah, just the odd little things we can do to help, because well, we did some last night in practice, just seeing what would happen, and it seems to work around here. But yeah, no, we are gunning for the teams, because I don't think we really got much of a chance of getting the drivers. We missed, obviously, both of us missed the first round, and Gabriel's gone. So yeah, we're going to go for the teams, but I think we've picked up some decent points so far. So hopefully that continues. Just I hope I don't have. Well, actually, I hope I keep the luck, but hopefully I'm lucky after I'm in the lead, if you know what I mean, rather than getting a win based off luck. But we'll see how it goes.
A win. Anybody you want to give a shout out to, Oliver, before we let you go and get ready?
Yeah, my parents are watching, and everyone down at the Hop Cavern, I'm sure, might be watching. So, big shout out to them, and yeah, thank you, everyone.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much, Oliver. Enjoy the win, and we'll potentially speak to you after the 3rd race.
Cheers.
Right, and that 3rd race is not far away, Harrison. I mean, there was an awful lot of shouting. I feel like my voice needs... I need something to help it, to heal it, to be honest, after the first 2 races. It's so exciting. But it's exactly what you were expecting, I'm guessing, coming into this one. And that race lead battle is everything we want to see in race 3 as well, isn't it? How hard is it going to be now for the drivers to pick themselves up after that adrenaline?
Well, yeah. They've got to kind of set themselves down, reset, get those nerves down, and get ready for this next race. A bit of a kind of refresh mind, if you will.
Indeed. Now, if anybody out there is wondering how on earth the reverse grid is going to work this time for race number 3, I'm not going to try and predict it because, to be honest, my mental maths, anybody who's been watching or listening to me for a rough time back when I was with Andy McEwen, well, with Richard John Niels and any other commentator I've been with, will know that the mental maths championship points, reverse grid, not my strong suit. But it is going to be race 1 and race 2 combined, then the top 20 reversed of those combinations. So whoever, on average, which let's face it, it's probably going to be Scott Bugner. I'm not that stupid. Scott Bugner would probably be on pole position, but then it's top 20 reversed. So he's going to shoot down into 20th position, which is probably why he was saying it could be him in this race going down and dropping and falling off the circuit. So it brings another new dynamic. How does the race series work in real life then, Harrison? Does it follow this sort of suit? Do you have qualifying in the real world, or do you sort of follow this championship qualifying order thing?
We typically have a qualifying, and then through the 2 races we have, wherever you finish in the first race, you'll start in the second.
Okay, so it's a bit more simple than what we've got this evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit more straightforward. I mean, I know a lot of real world championships, they get a little bit worried with reverse grids. I don't know if you've come across many championship organisers or been in those sort of conversations, but they get a bit worried about reverse grids because obviously in sim racing, it doesn't really matter if somebody crashes into you, apart from your pride and obviously championship points. But in the real world, if you kept getting put to the back of the grid of a top 20 reverse grid and people start crashing into each other, it could be a very expensive way to lose customers, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it can just be a bit quite hard to get through the pack sometimes, and you've also got those chances of incidents that you mentioned with the cost that could happen.
How did last season go for you? I've got a minute, so I might as well ask you. I haven't been able to ask you so far this evening. How did last season go for you? You're going for a full championship this year?
Yeah, full championship in VRRC. Last season we kind of joined midway, but we're in a Class C car. This time we're in a Class A car. We're in a 9-2 Reynard.
Very nice.
So yeah, hopefully seeing what we can do in the championship and see if we can compete for the championship overall.
What drew you to this championship over others then? Because there's a lot of choice out there for a 17-year-old.
Well, I do like open wheel, but it's something about kind of, I like the classic cars. I like driving cars that are old because it really gets the best out the driver. You don't have any A's, you don't have any slicks and wings. You just have that pure talent.
I like it. I'll tell you what, a lot of people will have absolutely loved hearing the 17-year-olds saying they like driving old cars as well, because you don't hear it very often. Right, let's speak about old cars, well, pre-99s, because the lights are on, the engine notes are rising, and that means we are about to get underway. We have got underway for the 3rd race of this evening, 3rd and final race with Aidan Ingram on pole position. Christian Gillian, I believe, has taken that over. No, I believe it is actually still Aidan Ingram. Couldn't quite see the cars at the front of the order, unfortunately. But Leon Frost, who remember won that race 1, ended up well down in race number 2, is up into 3rd place. You gotta be a brave person not to really be a betting man on them. As somebody sage exits left, Mike Ragg, I believe that is, and there's chaos left, right and centre, there's pile-ups, there's cars sideways. This is what we were talking about when reverse grid can get ugly. Didn't get ugly in the first 2 races, and this time it certainly has. Christian Gillian has fallen down into 4th place behind Leon Frost. Thomas Potter is up into 2nd. Now, I'm so used to talking about Potter in a VRRC sort of broadcast. I can't believe I haven't really seen him that much before, to be honest, so far tonight. But he is in 2nd place. Maybe it's just not his kind of car. I'm surprised that not in the YouTube chat, actually, the support network that Thomas has. You actually said that you race against him, Harrison, before we went live.
Yeah, I used back in the day in karting, in cadets I used to race him. But
back in the day, how long ago was that?
or probably 2020, 2021, something like
Oh,
that.
right. Oh, okay. That is. I'll give you back in the day then. That's fine. I thought you were going to say, like, 2024 or something like that. But no, yeah, he's, both come a long way, actually, haven't you, really? But he's just taken the race lead here on the simulator. Leon Frost is in second place, so only a tenth of a second behind him. Aiden Ingram in third, Christian Gillian in fourth. Oh, there's contact ahead. That's Christian Gillian. No, it's not. Not entirely sure who that was. Maybe Aiden.
I think that was Leon Frost.
Was it Leon Frost?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my days, it was Leon Frost. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well spotted, Harrison. That's the reason why you're here. I can't see a thing, that's why. Well, Leon Frost, after race 1 heroics, race 2 and 3 have not been desirable at all, but it has given Thomas Potter a 2-second lead, with Christian Gillian being the cork in the bottle for second place, with Aiden Ingram, Sam Walton, Rich Hayden, Lee Pearcey. What a strange combination of drivers, considering the previous couple of races have indicated. Well, to be fair, actually, Rich Hayden has come fourth, and Lee Pearcey probably should have come in the top 2 as Aiden Ingram gets a little bit of a tap by Rich Hayden. There's going to be 3 wide. My goodness, Harrison, I'd be terrified if this was actually my view in the rear view mirrors, because there are drivers everywhere and a massive lunge. It's not surprising, it's Lee Pearcey. We saw that against Jack Smith too many times, really, in that first race. They got away with it, and he gets away with it now. It's allowed Aiden Ingram to just get a little bit of an impetus ahead of a couple of drivers, but I reckon that Rich Hayden was fairly terrified as there's contact behind. I think Lee Pearcey's gone through. Sam Walton's going around. Somebody's parked on the exit, and this one has got messy, Harrison. It's a bit of a shame, this one.
Yeah, I think that was potentially one of them was going off with Scott Bugner.
Oh, he's had such a good round as well, and he said, anything could happen in his third race, and anything potentially has happened. Jack Smith, is that Kieran Haynes trying to force his way up the inside, and it's always going to be a contact. 3 wide through that corner is just not something you can do. Jack Smith gets through on Kieran Haynes, Ollie Atkins, Gabrielle Norse, who's up into 7th place. I sort of semi-missed that, to be honest. And Kieran is trying to have a little bit of a post to Jack Smith as he lunges up the inside. No, doesn't manage it, actually, going into the final corner. It's Thomas Potter leading by 5.5 seconds, by the way, on Christian Gillian, who is just loving the fact that there's people fighting behind and there's no real need to worry about it too much. Lee Pearcey in 3rd place. Kieran going for that move on Jack, who is hoping to fight for a race lead once more. Has a long way to go before he manages to achieve that sort of objective. Oliver Castro as a driver, I haven't really spoken that much about, in 8th place. Scott Bugner in 9th. Kian Haig, who I might have been getting mixed up with Kieran Haynes quite a lot today. I just feel like they're very similar names, and I apologise if I've done that at any point during the broadcast. I feel like it's a mistake I have made at some point. 11th place is Andy Cowell, George Harker in 12th, Luke Cooper in 13th, Miles Ragg in 14th. Rich Hayden dropped down to 15th, so he was one of the drivers that got turned around in that fight at this corner a lap ago. So, it's hard to keep an eye on everybody, to be honest, but it's not hard to keep an eye on the fact that Christian Gillian has got Lee Pearcey at the inside, and Lee Pearcey in his rearview mirrors sees Jack Smith for what is probably the umpteenth time so far this evening. Gillian making contact with Smith, makes contact again with Kieran Haynes. 2 wide. I mean, when are they going to learn, Harrison?
Yeah, it's just going through there. You got to let that car go because you can't ride it around the inside.
Is that a bit of race experience, or, realistically, should you just understand that by going through the corner enough times?
I think it's just a bit of, race experience because you know when that move is on and sometimes when it isn't.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times it isn't. I'd sooner go into Redgate. Oh, my days. He's held it well, to be fair. Ollie Atkins, he's going to be overtaken by Oliver Castro. Olavo. I apologise, Castro, if I'm saying your name horrendously there, because I don't want it to sound like Oliver. See, I've just done it again. Castro in 6th place. Jack Smith in 4th. Gabrielle Norse in between them. Kieran Haynes, who has been everywhere in the last 2 races, is in 3rd place. Sounded very young himself, actually. I'm not entirely sure how old Kieran Haynes is, but a lot of these drivers sounding quite young. I suppose it's unsurprising. It is a sim racing championship, and that attracts all ages, not just drivers who can race in these cars. once they hit 16. Thomas Potter setting the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 10.9. Now that is quick, don't get me wrong. It's not as fast as we would potentially expect as we get about halfway through this race, and some people end up with some clear air. One of those people being Jack Smith on your screen now. Lee Pearcey has 7 seconds though to catch up, and with no slipstream, Harrison, that's difficult, isn't it? Because he's set a 1 minute 11 dead, but without a slipstream, it's hard to really gain those seconds that he's going to need to catch up to Thomas Potter. Yeah,
especially if Thomas Potter keeps these consistent laps down, then yeah, with no mistakes, he'll probably take the win here.
Yeah, it's commentator's curse. I'm not going to blame you if it doesn't happen now, Harrison, but I tell you what, Thomas will. Kieran Haynes has got Jack Smith all the way up at his backside. Now, I'm just wondering, I asked Oliver Gibson in that interview, Harrison, about the bump drafting and the fact that him and Jack were doing it. I mean, I was going to say, do you think he's going to do it now? You can see it's plain as day in front of you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jack Smith is not intending to overtake Kieran here. He's intending to catch up to Lee Pearcey.
Yeah, he's potentially seeing how far in front Thomas Potter is, and it might just be on his mind that the fastest to get, highest he can get is top 2 really here.
Lee Pearcey has just set the fastest lap of the race. By the way, he's approximately 0.3 of a second quicker on that lap than Potter. Means he's just eked that gap to under 7 seconds. 7 seconds is an awful lot of time still, even with 12 minutes to go. So a bit of a breakdown. Where are some of the protagonists that we've seen? Leon Frost, he's rejoined. He's in 13th place. Oliver Gibson is in 15th. Anybody who's been keeping an eye out on those drivers. Christian Gillian, who has been at the front a lot in the early stages of every single race, actually, finds themselves down in 22nd. I was looking for race 2, not race 2 winner, but Scott Bugner, second place, 2 second place he's had today so far. And I cannot see him, struggling to find him. Scott Bugner, that's a bit of a strange one. I can find Andy Dorman.
He's
I can't.
up to 5th, Scott Buckner is.
Oh my days, he's up to 5th. I was looking like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I was looking like 10th and below, to be honest, doing him doing a bit of a disservice. He's on our screen now. I should know that, Steve. If I'm going to mention someone, Steve's going to find them, because I clearly can't keep an eye on it. Lee Pearcey has dropped down to 9th place. Harrison, have I missed something?
I think at Old Hairpin he might have had a bit of a moment and gone off, because I did see in the background one of the yellow cars like his going off, so that could have happened there.
I'll tell you what, they should pay you the bucks here, because I have absolutely no idea what I'm looking at clearly. That's the last time I look at my notes, because too much changes as we go through the rest of these sort of races and the Formula Ford 1600 Super Class. Super Classic, I should say, actually, my apologies. Lee Pearcey then falling off, which means Jack Smith is actually fighting 2nd place with Kieran Haynes. 8 seconds is what they had to catch up by, and I'm not entirely sure if that's going to happen. This battle, though, for, I think that's got Lee Pearcey at the front of it. I might have Ollie Atkins at the front of this, actually, little gaggle of cars. It could end up setting off and a bit of a chain reaction, which allows some of the drivers just behind in the sort of 11th, 12th, 13th. Although if they fall off the circuit like they are behind, that's not going to help anybody, is it, in terms of catching up to the top 6. So Miles Ragg is in that gaggle that you can see right in the far end, just behind Luke Cooper. Here it is Miles Ragg. I think he's moved to the inside on Olivo Castro, and there we go. Castro has had to yield the position to Miles Ragg. Miles has been quick all day, hasn't he, Harrison? But he hasn't actually really turned it into anything so far today.
Yeah, I think you can be fast and consistent, but sometimes it just does come down to luck and being in the right place at the right time.
So much of motorsport comes down to that, really, doesn't it? Which is Oliver Gibson was saying, I suppose, in that second race win interview that we had this evening. Ollie Atkins gets overtaken by Lee Pearcey. We know how feisty Lee can be, both in attack and defence, as Atkins tries to go back past him. Nice little move, actually, up the inside. Pearcey's going to have to think about Luke Cooper rather than probably a riposte to Atkins, because Luke has the slipstream. They're going to make it 3 wide. Harrison, they haven't learned. It's going to be a disaster. There's Luke Cooper on the inside. One of them's going to hit a sausage curve. None of them hit a sausage. There we go. I told you they'd end in disaster. Lee Pearcey ends up turning the wrong way, and Again, in my opinion, it's just a bit greedy from the drivers, isn't it? You'd think that they could get down to Redgate with a nice, clear run and overtake both of them without too much problems. But going into that chicane, you're just asking for it.
Yeah, especially with that chicane being so tight. I mean, you got to know when to yield and then set up the move for the next corner.
It's hard though, isn't it? If you are the driver, say in the middle of that sandwich, if you yield, then there's plenty of drivers behind that think maybe I can get a run on them as well. But you know, losing 2 places is better than just getting turned around and losing 10, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You kind of have to weigh up the risk and the reward in those type of situations.
Risk was not worth the reward, unfortunately, for Lee Pearcey as Jack Smith. I'm just wondering, Jack Smith, he set a fastest sector in the previous lap. Kieran Haynes' sector 2 is fast, but Jack Smith's last lap was half a second quicker than Haynes. I'm curious as to how the gap has emerged, really. Again, he was 0.2 quicker in that one. So over the last 2 laps, Jack Smith has gained 0.7 of a second on Kieran Haynes. In comparison to whether they're gaining on Thomas Potter, Potter did a 1 minute 11.3. Haynes did a 1 minute 10.8. So they definitely are catching Potter, but I don't think at the rate that they both need to. And Smith isn't going to start lunging Haynes until he thinks that first place is well out of reach. That's not a Potter, is it? No, it's not. It's a track marker. My goodness, my heart stopped. And Smith now does make the move on Haynes. 7 seconds might be where he draws the line, because he'd have to go a second quicker a lap pretty much if they have any chance of catching up to the race leader, and it doesn't look like they're going to manage that. So Jack Smith does now stamp his mark, goes past Kieran Haynes. But what can Kieran do going into the chicane? Is he going to try and make the move? Jack Smith goes offensive. Haynes tries the outside. Gabriel Norse is going to be the driver who's licking his lips at this battle. If anybody's going to be significantly faster than the people around them, it's going to be Gabriel Norse, as Jack Smith holds on to that lead. But for how much longer? As they go down towards the first corner, it's Smith on the outside, Kieran Haynes on the inside, and it's going to be a Haynes overtake, surely. No, Smith with an enormous amount of speed around the outside. He did have to twitch the car to keep it in a straight line, but he holds on to the position for the time being. Going down into Old Hairpin, I imagine Smith will have the braking zone. Yes, he does.
It's quite impressive battling, this is, but you can see the respect they have for each other. But you can also see, because they're starting battling about 6 minutes to go, that they kind of just realise that Thomas Potter, he's too far away, and the best they can get is second here. So it's just going to be this battle for second we're going here.
Yeah, I think Potter, even though he can't really see them in his rearview mirrors because he's so far ahead, in fact, he's almost at the chicane at this point when the other drivers are just coming out of the corner before. It's very obvious to him that he probably doesn't really need to worry too much. Although with 6 minutes to go, he can easily put a tyre off, or he'll hit a curb accidentally or something like that. But Potter is far more a skilled esports driver than that these days. He doesn't really make mistakes on his own, as Kieran Haynes now has to search for a little bit of extra oomph to get him past Jack Smith. Smith, who has just put in the fastest third sector of anybody, a 16.5 second third sector, in fact. Kieran Haynes with the fastest sector too. So there is still life in these two drivers, and it was interesting to hear from drivers earlier in the interviews to say that the tyres don't really go off, so that's not going to be a concern for either of them, that they maybe are pushing a little bit too hard early on, as Kieran Haynes pushed Jack Smith on a little bit in the braking zone, and just gives him a little bit of a bump up to get him back up to speed. Is this a tactic? Harrison, do you think there's any chance of them catching up to Potter at this point?
I couldn't say so. I think right now they might just be... They've left the battles for a little bit, and Kieran could just be bump drafting them a bit to see if they can just extend a bit of a gap to Gable, to give them a bit of comfort space to then battle, because otherwise be a three-way battle for second. Yeah,
that's a good point, actually. I wouldn't have really thought of the... using the bump drafting as a defensive mechanism for the driver behind, actually, but you're absolutely right. Lee Pearcey, Oliver Castro ahead, Miles Ragg behind. We know Pearcey loves a lunge, and we love Pearcey because he loves a lunge. And going into the chicane, it's not phased him that he ended up getting turned around a couple of laps ago. He's managed to do it, and he's done it to a plumb as well. Miles Ragg just trying to follow him through. I don't think he's going to manage to do it, as Haynes is trying to chase after Smith still. They have caught up a little bit. I mean, Potter's last lap was an 11.2, Smith was 10.6, so 0.6 of difference, but with 3 minutes to go, nowhere near enough, realistically. Also, I was going to raise to you here, Harrison, in terms of how this battle is going to progress. It's very different to how Jack Smith battled with Lee Pearcey. Lee Pearcey wouldn't have sat behind him as Kieran has. Do you reckon Kieran has watched that battle between Pearcey and Smith almost the entire race in race 2 and thought, you know what, I don't want to be hit off here, I don't want to have a collision, that's not the tactic I'm going to go for, I'm going to try a different tactic?
Yeah, potentially. He could just be kind of seeing what happened in front of race 2 and taking that into mind to then not take such long kind of time in the race that keep on battling, just have it a short little bit, probably maybe at the end. Otherwise, you do come into the type of both of you are tired from battling, you can slip up and make a mistake, and that's what we did see in the race 2.
Jack Smith's actually just set a 1 minute 10.4, which is the fastest lap I've seen all evening, and he's not even in slipstream. So it does humble you, doesn't it, when you think you're actually semi-decent in a simulator and then you see people doing that. Anyway, and also another thing that I was sort of thinking in terms of the slipstream, in terms of the battling, Harrison, is the fact that I remember watching minis around Thruxton quite a lot, actually. I've watched them, I've commentated on them as well. And they always say you don't want to be first going into the last lap, because if you do, you're pretty much sitting duck with the slipstream, with the easy overtakes. Is that a case here in the Super Touries?
Yeah,
Super Classics?
You have to kind of, on the last lap, if you got somebody in your rear view, you just have to make that car as wide as you can. Watching those rear views and just make it as wide as you can to try and make sure they can't get by.
Would you rather be the car in front or the car behind going on to the last lap in this situation? So Jack Smith, Kieran Haynes. Which one would you rather be?
I'd definitely be Kieran Haynes. Allows you a bit more room around the track and you're not always watching your mirrors.
Yeah, it's crucial, that, isn't it? It's one of the first lessons of any driver coach will tell you, don't drive in your mirrors. Not so much in karting, although I suppose you can look over your shoulder. But in cars, your eyes can easily just be glued to the mirror on your right-hand side rather than the apex on your right-hand side. You can easily be glued to your mirror on the left instead of the apex on the left, and it becomes a little bit too easy to start overthinking. And as soon as you do that, Harris, you're just missing braking zones, aren't you? You're missing apexes. You're just inviting the person behind to go overtake you.
Yeah, exactly. It just allows mistakes to creep in, and then before you know it, the person behind you is the person in front of you.
Kieran Haynes, sorry, not Kieran Haig. Kieran Haynes has got a good run out of this final corner. We are going on to the final lap now, and he's bump drafting him. He's not giving him the satisfaction of going past him just yet. I'm slightly surprised at that one, because 40 seconds left to go. This will be the final lap, and Haynes had a very good run out of that final corner, and there's no guarantee he's going to have a brilliant run going out of Old Hairpin, or indeed the top corner, which the name has escaped me, unfortunately. It's bad as a commentator, isn't it? Potter moving and slicing his way through the back markers nice and safely. 4.5 seconds to the good. His pace hasn't been electric, but that lead that he got has been absolutely superb and gold dust to him. The pace hasn't been bad, it just hasn't been as quick as the two drivers behind, but it has been quick enough to hold that position, hold that gap for a much-needed race win here for Thomas Potter. Now, what can Kieran Haynes do? This is going to be the last overtaking opportunity. Jack Smith parks his car towards the inside. Is Haynes going to go for the outside move? We said about how risky it is. We said how foolish it could be. Haynes has already gone straight over that exit curb, and he's managed to just about do it. That could be the move of the day. Thomas Potter takes the race victory, but in second place, it's going to be Kieran Haynes overtaking Jack Smith right at the end. That is absolutely stunning. I ate my words, Harrison. Fantastic stuff right at the last.
Yeah, that was an amazing move at the last corner. I did not see that happening.
I don't think Jack Smith saw it happening either, considering that Haynes has already been off a couple of times going straight on. I think even one of them was at the mercy of Jack Smith as well, but hey-ho. Right, last top 10. Fourth place, Gabriel Norris finally picking up some points. Scott Bugner was in fifth, so he's had a really good run today. Luke Cooper in sixth, Oliver Gibson in seventh, Lee Pearcey in 8 miles, Rag in ninth. Alavo Castro was the rounding out the top 10. We are going to go to one final ad break from our partners before we have a chat to our top 3. Well, it's coming to the point in the night where I actually get to rest my throat at some point and not say a word to anybody in my house for the next 2 hours because that's taken everything out of me. Great racing up and down the grid, I have to say. But we can start this interview process off with third place man Jack Smith. And I tell you what, Jack, I'm sure you're probably not surprised that Kieran went for the move at the end. I'm surprised he went for it at that final corner around the outside. How was it from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, you got the move done. Yeah, there was a little bit of contact next and it stalled me on going down the straight, which is a shame. But yeah, that is what it is. But just been a run of terrible rounds for myself. Just no luck at all. Just getting taken out here and there, and yeah, it's just not been a great few rounds. So I keep saying next week it'd be different, and every single round so far, my luck has been horrific. So yeah, hoping it changes in the future.
You have been well in the thick of it, though, haven't you? This I mean, that battle with Lee Pearcey was sublime, to be honest. Right up until the obvious. I mean, up until that point where the contact happened, you were probably thinking, this is what I enjoy about sim racing. This is brilliant. I can imagine. I hope that's what you were thinking, because it's what I was thinking.
I obviously racing against Lee is great, but I'm just like, I just want for once I would like a good result, and I'm just like trying my best to get ahead and then break the toe and stuff. And I was just like, oof, it was getting my sweat on for sure. So yeah, no, it's of course racing against Lee is always amazing. It's like proper close racing and everything. But yeah, it's just unfortunate the way that ended up happening. I think it was a miscommunication with where he put his car, and I thought he was going to go left and he didn't, and then I was on the grass, and yeah, it was a bit of a mess at the end. But yeah, no, it was always quality with the guys. Love racing here, so yeah.
I've as you know, covered many championships with you in it. Many championships that you have run away with as well, and all of a sudden you're in a championship where maybe the luck hasn't gone your way, sort of thing. Do you find yourself snapping at the bit to try and get back on that podium, despite all the success you may have had in previous championships? It's almost like the slate is wiped clean every single time, and you're desperate to try and get back up.
Yeah, I'm on Motec every single evening. I'm watching every single race replay. I'm doing every single thing I can to try and get a better result. And like the last few rounds, I couldn't see anywhere where I could have improved. It was literally just bad luck. Like I was sandwiched between two cars and there was a car parked in the middle. I couldn't have gone anywhere else. Ended up going straight into it. It's like that kind of thing this season. I don't know. Maybe this one isn't for me. It's just one of them things that happens, isn't it, in racing? So yeah, hopefully I come out the other half of the season on a good note. But yeah, so far it's been a bit of a torrid time. So yeah, got to find Summit for sure. But yeah, for sure I'll be checking Motec and the replays after this to try and find something.
A podium's a podium at the end of the day, though, Jack, isn't it? We've got to take what we can, I suppose. I mean, trying to give you a little bit of silver lining. Is there anybody, at least in that race too, that contact, at least it was Oliver who took the race win for Team TK as well?
Yeah, he's carrying us at the minute for the team championship. So, yeah, no, Ollie's been mega. We did some really good race practice around here. We were like side by side the entire lap for laps and laps and laps. Just literally, I mean, every single straight, every single corner, we were probably side by side with each other. So we did some really nice race practice, and Ollie's getting better and better every single race he does. So he's the one to watch out for, I'd imagine. He's been up there for most of these races. So yeah, I'd keep an eye on Ollie for sure.
Well, we won't write either of you off until the end of the season, that's for sure. Right, Jack, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, just a quick shout out to my parents, everyone at the Hop Cabin, and Dave from DK Power, Mike as well. They're doing a quality job building this M3 coming up, and it's going to be a mega time putting that on track. So yeah, looking forward to it, and just shout out to everyone who's tuned in. That I shouted them out on the Instagram. So thank you for tuning in. Thanks
very much, Jack. Well done on the race. Well, third place, actually. I'm so used to saying a race win at the end of your name. I'll see you next time, I'm sure. He's already gone. He's that angry. Right, moving on to second place. And, well, Kieran Haynes with one, if not the move of the day. That was stunning around the outside. A big beaming smile, I imagine, on your face right now.
Yeah, I was definitely gaining a lot on the straights. I was planning my overtake there every lap, so I just thought last lap, let's send it around the outside and hope it works. I went around the outside with Scott in Brands Hatch, so I was thinking if I can do it there on Scott, then I can do it on Jack. So
you'll start being predictable, Kieran. You have to shake it up a little bit.
So I just sent it and hope it worked.
Well, I was slightly surprised going into the final lap because you had a really good run out of the last corner going on to the final lap. I was slightly surprised you bump drafted him and you didn't take him going into the first corner because the space was there. You had the run. Why didn't you, I suppose?
Because I seen Jack was a little bit under pressure. So I was trying to bump draft him. And on like the last 2 laps at the end, I was gaining so much on the straight and over the last corner. So I knew it was the perfect opportunity to just send it.
Well, send it, you did. Did that make up for the slight disappointment that race 2 had for you? Because obviously race 2 could have potentially had that win. Race 3 almost felt like, even though it wasn't a win, it was second place, it almost feels like a win, doesn't it? Because you had to battle so hard for it.
Yeah, lap 1 was definitely a battle. Felt like Lightning McQueen had come out of that crash at 2-1. So yeah, it was definitely a good race and a good battle.
Fantastic stuff. You mentioned that you're obviously involved with the karting and stuff like that. Is car racing something that you're looking at in the future?
Yeah, definitely is. I'll try my best to get into cars or single-seaters, just anything I can, and just try to work my way up in motorsport.
Fantastic stuff. Kieran, thank you very much for having a chat to us. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, my family again for watching, my schoolmates, and Swift Cooper for making this championship happen.
Brilliant stuff. Before you go, I've just remembered, because Steve has put it on screen and we agreed it, and I always forget to announce it, but huge congratulations. You are the driver of the round for Donington Park, so massively well done. Not entirely due to the fact that you were, that outside move on that last corner, but also your just countless qualifying laps in that race too as well was really impressive. We felt like you got very, very unlucky. And so, yeah, well done on getting driver of the round.
Thank you very much.
Right, moving on to our race winner. A driver, I'll be honest, looking at the championship standings, looking at the test times, and after race 1 and 2, I didn't expect to be having a chat to, but Teapot, it's always a pleasure to have a chat to you. You have come away with the top step of the podium, and I have to say, it was a quiet race, wasn't it, after the first 5 minutes or so for you?
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, I wasn't expecting to be up here either. I've came to a conclusion, but I don't really fancy these cars. I think I'm just not much of a fan of Formula racing in general, but still incredible to be able to get the win in the end, which is, well, huge thanks to Aiden doing some incredible defence, which got me the gap to begin with.
just goes to, sorry, I will get back to your racing in a second, but it just goes to show how long I've been away from VRRC, because your voice is a hell of a lot deeper than it ever was when I last interviewed you. Thomas, it's brilliant to see that you're obviously sharing the congratulations and the thanks around and everything like that. I mean, what makes Formula racing not really your cup of tea?
Well, I think first of all, it's just the way I don't really like. I know obviously this car doesn't have much downforce, but I just prefer cars where you can go side by side racing, because that's what I feel like racing more is. It's not just, well, obviously you've got to make it clean, but I prefer having side by side, like as in iRacing, where my Mazdas and GT3s you can have that side by side contact. But I think that's just something that I kind of like prefer, as well as I don't really like being in the middle of a car. I just feel like it's just not normal to be in the middle, so I think it's just personal preference really, but that's mainly it, yeah.
Well, I can already hear the rage from Rich Hayden as he's going to DQ you basically from the season, given the fact that you just said iRacing in a VRRC scream. So get ready for that. But no, it's yeah, it is personal preference, of course it is. But there was once upon a time where you said you didn't like front wheel drive either. So yeah, is that still the case, or is it still the case you don't like front wheel drive?
Well, until after that mini championship, I'm not too sure anymore. Although I think to be honest, I think it's just in the moment, because to be fair, probably by the end of this championship, I'll probably be saying I love.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
So just depends how it goes in the end, I guess. If Rich wants to give me 3 wins, I'll say I love Formula cars.
And you love a set of Corsa, of course, as well.
Yeah.
Right. What's happening in real life then? You've been testing. Anything you can tell us?
Well, here's a perfect part, which I was going to tell you is huge thank you to Robert James and John Chadwick. I most definitely pronounced Chadwick wrong, but Shield Lubricants or Chemicals, they go off 2 names, for buying me the Fiesta Junior car. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to say the team name, which I'm going to be running under yet, but thank you to them for buying me the car. It's been absolutely incredible, and thank you for everybody, well, obviously watching as well, for making all this real-life racing going to happen.
So you're going to be racing Fiestas?
Yeah, unfortunately not Genettas, but yet again, fortunately as well, because I don't think my dad had pockets of 350 grand almost.
Oh, Jesus. Well, yeah, no, most people don't. Fiesta's a fantastic championship, though. Really are brilliant. I know we probably shouldn't be talking about other championships on a Formula Ford stream too much, but I think everybody can appreciate that the Fiesta's been some brilliant racing out there as well. Is that on the BRSCC package?
Yeah, it is on the BRSCC package, which I think that's where we can get away with saying it.
Yeah, I was going to say, at least there's some kind of tenuous link in there somewhere.
Yeah, otherwise I might have been DQ'd another time.
Right, brilliant. Thank you very much, Teapot, for coming along. You mentioned you reeled off about 5 different 6, 7, 8 names there. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we let you go anyway?
Well, yeah, obviously, Shield, Chemicals and Lubricants, Bell's Trucks, 22 Log KMU Fibre, and obviously the charities Ben and the Ollie Foundation, as well as massive thank you to Falcon Computers, who got me my second monitor set up for my sim rig. And then obviously you guys as commentators, Rich for setting it all up, and Steve for doing the broadcast. And other than that, I'm probably going to say my teachers for giving me a nice report for Parents' Day, which means I'm not going to have to do loads of jobs today. So thank you to them as well. And well, really just thanks to everyone for sorting everything out and making my life the best life it could be.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Teapot, for coming down and having a chat to us. I'm sure Richard John Neal will be having a chat to you next week or the week after, or whenever you end up on the top step.
Well, hopefully next race.
That's the aim. That's the aim. Thank you very much, Thomas.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Well then, I mean, Harrison, a word from you. That was a stonking evening, wasn't it? It was great stuff all over the park. Does it make you itch to get back in the seat yourself?
Oh yeah, definitely. Watching that side-by-side action throughout the race 1, no, race 2 and race 3. I mean, I can't wait to get back into the car.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you in the car as well. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in the Collins box alongside me, though. A big thank you to everybody who's come in and watched, whether you, liked, whether you commented, or whether you sat there silently judging us. It's been still a pleasure to be your host for the evening. Please do tune in next week for round 5 of the championship, and with Richard John Neal be back in the commentary box with Thomas Nippers as well, with his co-coms. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you later. Good night.
Between the two of them, the inside of Coates, Barker gets too heavily involved, and that's Whitehead and Coates.